Half-Life is by no surprise an amazing game. In a day and age where video games are just glorified movies with long and boring cutscenes, hand-holding gameplay, and PC-exploding graphics, it's crazy to see that a 25-year-old game is still far better than most modern releases. Half-Life's amazing gameplay can mostly be attributed to its wide variety of weapons. In most modern games, you get like a generic pistol, automatic rifle, and shotgun. But in Half-Life, not only do you get your classic SMG and shotgun, but you also get futuristic laser weapons with charge mechanics, trip mines, Ted Kaczynski packs, whatever the hell this is, and a goober. Even though there is so much utility offered by each individual weapon stored in Gordon's prison wallet, I'm going to be throwing away everything that makes this game fun by using only the pistol. Most naysayers claim that the pistol is the worst weapon in Half-Life due to it being as basic as a blonde woman on Tinder. But I am no ordinary man, for I am God's greatest gamer, the biggest virgin in the sea of virgins, for I decided to see if I could beat all of Half-Life using only the pistol as my weapon of choice. So here's the rules of my run. Rule number 1. Since I'm God's greatest gamer, I must play on Half-Life's unforgiving hard difficulty throughout this entire run. Rule number 2. I'm not allowed to save scum, because that's for little bitches. When I die, I respawn where Valve says I respawn, so I get what I get and I don't throw a fit. Rule number 3. I'm not allowed to use any major glitches. I know people like to see the glitches and creative exploitation of the game to solve problems, but some challenge runners rely so heavily on these glitches that it makes it unfun for the viewers to watch. This is because you're no longer watching them struggle to survive. Rather, they just put the physics textbook into the fiction section at their local library and start to fly away from their problems like their dad did after their birth. Rule number 4. I'm allowed to utilize the crowbar and other utility for puzzles only. I know this might sound controversial because, oh no, he's not using the pistol, but trust me, I still am. I can't kill or hurt anyone with anything other than the pistol, and if I wasn't allowed to progress puzzles with my utility, then I'd probably have to break rule number 3. This rule also applies to mounted guns required to break open parts of the level. Rule number 5. I'm allowed to kill with environmental hazards. If it's an explosive barrel, I have to detonate it with my pistol. If it's a simple button, then the pistol rule doesn't matter. Okay, so I know I just did a ton of yapping, but hopefully you all stuck around. This challenge was very difficult to complete, and I hope it's more interesting for you, the viewer, to watch, since it won't look like Gordon just took 72 milligrams of Adderall and Super Mario 64 backwards long jump to the 9-inch chamber. Without further ado, enjoy my suffering. My journey through Black Mesa started as any normal day. Show up catastrophically late. Cause the facility to go into red alert, ruin someone's microwave casserole.
Stop fucking with the microwave!
Don the HEV suit. Listen to this fire soundtrack.
Activated. Vital sign monitoring.
Get to the test chamber. Ignore my colleagues. Get my dick ridden by the scientist.
Gordon doesn't need to hear all this. He's a highly trained professional.
And spell doom across the entire world. You know, everything you do with Monday Energy. Basically, I now run through Black Mesa until I get the carpentry tool of every nerd's wet dreams, the crowbar, my second best friend throughout this entire run because it now allows me to cause property damage. My favorite. Next, I run into this room and meet a Barney clone. Since NPCs always get in the way of us god-level gamers, I decided to give him a taste of his own medicine. Now that Gordon is strapped at the 9, I can effectively deal with these aliens in the only way a god-loving American knows how. Through gun violence! The early levels really aren't all that hard, especially since you normally just have a pistol for them anyways. I run past some chunky dogs, say hi to Half-Life's most forgotten enemy, say bye to Half-Life's most forgotten enemy, as it now burns and sears alive in the deepest pit of hell, clear this gap, and get to the elevator, which takes me to... I find it quite simple. I then turn off the power, watch this guy get some incredible dome from the barnacle, crawl through this vent, I don't forget to hold crouch, and then on to the first challenging part of this run. In this part of the level, Gordon is meant to get jumped by a street gang of aliens. By this point, the player would have a shotgun to easily dispatch of these Vortal fools. Unfortunately, due to the nature of this challenge, I can only use the pistol. So here, we see the first implementation of my reoccurring strategy throughout this run. Run like a little bitch and try not to get hit! It worked. We continue on and watch this guy do a super sweet action roll out of this window because he's like cool and stuff. Then I, and the rest of the Half-Life community, made fun of this guy for being incapable of doing a simple pull-up. despite all of the Half-Life community knowing damn well that they all weigh over 350 pounds and also can't perform a simple pull-up. Now that I've gotten the entire Half-Life community pissed at me, it's only appropriate that I move on to We've Got Hostiles. Honestly, this beginning part isn't really that hard, and we soon encounter the real challenge of this run. 2.0 GPA high school graduates, aka the United States Marine Corps. These guys must be really into music, because they are strapped with MP5s. Some of them have shotguns, but it doesn't mean that they're any weaker than their SMG-wielding brothers. Also, since their brain capacity is so little, they can only shoot or move. They're incapable of doing both at the same time. I won't lie to you, this first encounter was quite easy. The second encounter wasn't bad either, but that third encounter, I trained my whole life for this. I have clocked in over 1,000 hours on aim labs. I've climbed the highest mountain, fought the bravest eagle, spent 10 months in jail for harming an endangered species, committed identity theft to evade $100,000 in fines for my criminal actions. Wait, where was I again? Oh right, the third encounter. I ran past that like a little bitch. On the surface, it looked like a normal day in Los Angeles. I participated in the gang violence by gunning this guy down and then made a break for it to this bunker. Then I made it to that room which I needed to get to. How did this guy get here? Anyways, we open the silo door and it's on to Blast Pit. I love Blast Pit because it's such a cool set piece for the game and it has a nice change of pace from the action-packed We've Got Hostiles. Unfortunately, I decided that throwing grenades would probably hurt the tentacles of this thing and I can only hurt things with a pistol, so I had to do it without the assistance of grenades. It's quite easy though, because all you gotta do is just run fast and then be patient when required. I first turned on the oxygen and fuel without much of a problem. Then I got to the power and turned it off, which once again wasn't much of a hassle. Don't interrupt me, bitch! After that, I went back and made a break for it to incinerate the monster. I wonder if it smelled like cooked chicken. Down the pit and take that track to power up. So, you might think that what I'm about to do is cheating, because technically I'm not supposed to do any game-breaking glitches. Well, I don't consider this a glitch. Like, no, seriously, I just don't feel like this is a glitch to me. You see, I'm currently trying to skip all of Power Up by using trip mines as a way to boost myself over this blockade. These mines were always meant to have collision, and if Valve really didn't want me to get over this gap here, then they could have just booted up Hammer and added a clip brush. Not that hard of a fix. If you think that this is cheating the run, then yeah. You're entitled to your own opinion, and I ask only for your forgiveness. But since this is my challenge video, and I alone am the paragon of truth and justice, I say this is legal. Now, you might have been a little upset at how fast I've been jumping through all of this, and I can't say I blame you. I've probably just blown through some of your favorite parts of the game like it was nothing, but the truth is, I want to keep this video around the 20-25 minute mark. Also, out of the first 3.5 hour recording session, everything I just covered was around 40 to 50 minutes of the gameplay. That's right, I spent about 2 hours on this next chapter, on a rail. This Barney clone told me some important info. And then I had to jump down this pit. You see, this water here is electrified and honestly could have been the reason for why On a Rail railed me so hard. I walk into the first encounter with like only 15 health. That's not a great start. The beginning of the level wasn't that hard. I only got a little lost, but that's just because I haven't played On a Rail in a while. Once I did find my way, I was given my first face-to-desk meet and greet moment of the run. I had only 20 health and needed to kill these 2 soldiers. Then I had to kill a Vortigaunt and possibly another soldier to progress. I had my first slew of deaths here. Luckily, the spawn point was right next to the first 2 soldiers, so I just Doctor Stranged them over and over again until I got that luck I needed. Once I finally got that luck, I was able to move on to my next challenge. These 3 soldiers on top of some random elevation here. I was at 15 health and on the low ground, which, as we all know, is a serious disadvantage. Once again, the spawn point was right next to the soldiers, so I didn't lose that much progress if I died. This is another interesting quirk of the Marines. For some reason, if you're far enough away from them or just behind cover, they don't care about the bullets. Out of sight, out of mind, I guess. Next was what I spent an hour and a half of my life on. So I was just gonna progress like a normal Half-Life player where you throw the charge in this elevator and blow up these boxes. Unfortunately, there just happened to be a Marine standing there, which is not only a really dumb spot to be standing considering the explosive boxes, but that also means I can't progress this way. Because if we recall rule number 5, I can only kill with explosive barrels if my pistol deals the damage. So now I had to go back and clear the checkpoints and bring the cart with me. The first checkpoint wasn't bad and I didn't suffer any deaths. It was a similar scenario with the second checkpoint, but I did walk away rather hurt. Also, it was this run that I learned you can kill these box marines without grenades. All you have to do is come to the side and shoot the slightest pixel of their body. All of that was pretty easy, but this is where my Sisyphus arc began. I had to rise on the slow-moving lift with these soldiers shooting at me, and I kept on dying because it was hard to aim while rotating. And there's also no cover, so I just had to brute force the damage. I literally just kept dying and reloading, and I swear this went on for like an hour. Yes! I made it all the way up here! I can finally progress! Oh my god, that took me like an hour to... Well, time to do that all again. The next few encounters weren't that bad, but then I got to these two guys talking. Normally you just throw your explosives at them and watch them turn into a fireworks display, but unfortunately I can't do that. I suffered a few deaths, but it was okay. The silo fight wasn't much to talk about either. Yeah, I died and had to kill those goobers again, but I did it second try. Due to all the combat that just happened, I was at really low health and had to kill these two guys. Luckily, I'm still God's greatest gamer, and I did it first try. I launched Monkey Not Poopy Joe into space, and I could finally move on to Apprehension. So Disney just finished their changes to Splash Mountain, and they invited me to come test it out. I gotta be honest, that was quite a wild ride. Now, I might seem very alive, awake, alert, and enthusiastic, but remember, everything I just covered so far was around 4.5 hours worth of gameplay. Although I felt like I was on the verge of a mental breakdown, I had made a promise to myself to get to residue processing by the end of the night, so I was determined to keep going. This was the final roadblock of the night. A room with 3 Vortigons and 2 head crabs which needed to be killed to progress. Sounds easy, right? Well, it would be if I wasn't low on ammo. I had barely enough ammo to get through this section. I basically couldn't afford to miss a shot. After multiple reloads, I finally killed everything in this freezer, and then I had to lock the hell in. I managed to run through this freezer section without dying, and then I skipped past these Vortigons and took the lift up.
Hey, Freeman, right? I need to warn you that Bill and Hillary Clinton...
And then I had to run faster than O.J. Simpson did after he saw somebody kill his ex-wife. But I finally made it. Apparently, these two soldiers are about to have a sleepover, and I'm gonna be that kid who falls asleep first. Instead of learning what horrible things they are about to do to me, I decided to just get off for tonight, which is probably what they said over my unconscious body. I loaded up beta Minecraft. I built. I went caving. It was nice. It reminded me of the smaller things in life and how when you're challenged, we learn more about ourselves. If your life currently feels like a Half-Life pistol only challenge, then remember it's not always gonna be like this. You will recover from whatever pain has been inflicted upon you. It may not happen instantly, but remember that tomorrow is another day and it's another chance to start slowly recovering. You've got this, and I believe in you. You matter more than you realize. Right now, you could be a total stranger who's halfway across the earth watching this video because you thought what I had to say was interesting. I know my jokes aren't that funny, but I'm very grateful that you decided to stick around this far in the video, and I only hope I was able to give you a little bit of happiness for today. Anyways, let's get back to my suffering. I woke up and found myself in an Amazon shipping storage facility. It finally hit me what that Barney clone was trying to tell me. The Clintons were waiting for me, and now they were trying to ship me to Epstein's Island for my gorgeous HEV-covered body. I quickly grabbed Gordon Freeman's sounding rod and broke into the main part of the Amazon warehouse. I immediately saw plenty of OSHA violations and had to be careful not to end up on LiveLeak. I was a dumbass and decided to shoot this mine for some reason, putting me at low health. I eventually made it to questionable ethics though. It was here that I almost thought this run wasn't going to be possible. You see, I have very low pistol ammo and not enough health to take on all these soldiers. I was lucky enough to have an extra 17 ammo from this willing volunteer, but it wasn't going to be enough to deal with these soldiers. As my faith was dwindling, I remembered something. There's some questionable ethics going on around here. So I lured a soldier into the room and forced him to listen to KSI's new song. I did this again, and then I had to do it another time because there was this dude around the corner. Hey, look, I got the laser on. Now, I just lured this guy into the retina scanner, and I can go outside for the first time this week. Well, the setback can't be too bad. So I did it all again, and I didn't die. Hey, Half-Life, what's it called when the attractive force in liquids pulls surface molecules into the rest of the liquid, minimizing the surface area? Right, thank you. I then made it to the first encounter of surface tension. I tried to run through it and was immediately introduced to God. I did it again, but this time I shot these two guys who were trying to ambush me. Then it's time for that clip I showed like twice in the intro because it's so clean. I made it to the dam where they called in air support. I honestly thought I was gonna have a hard time with the dam because I couldn't destroy the helicopter and the Guppy tank's pistol shots. However, it was actually super easy. I just sat here and opened the valve. I climbed up this ladder and geared for my next fight. I started by running in and unloading into this guy. I then realized that was a stupid strategy and I needed to rethink it. I used my theoretical physics brain to figure out that if I theoretically sit in this hole, then only one soldier can attack me at a time. So I did just that. And guess what? It worked. Kind of. Well, I survived, so at least I have that going for me. Now I can turn the valve and place a minesweeper. Just so everyone knows, this is how you do this section. Now it's time for... Anyways, I immediately died to this turret because I'm kind of dumb. Second time around, I didn't die though. Then I hit shots on this guy, which would even make an R6 player cry. After that, I killed this guy from a distance. Gunned down this next guy, and be sure to be careful looking over this ledge. I wasn't. I paid the price. Do everything I just did over again, and this time, don't die. I do it this time, and I ensure to play it safe by shooting Rainbow Six shots on this guy. I hated that game. The helicopter returns, and now I have to make a break for it. I'm so glad Valve decided to put a respawn point here. I may be making it look easy, but I have been dying a lot. The ones that I'm showing are really just the most notable. Time for the funny encounter, where you get to pick your entrance and face off against a bunch of Marines. Luckily, it didn't take too much effort to perform a cleanup on aisle 6. Continuing past this tank thing took me to my next challenge. I had to make a mad dash for it where I watched this Barney clone die right before my eyes. So, normally a player just throws some explosives into that hole and it'll dispense a sniper out of it like an ATM. Unfortunately, as you all probably have figured out by now, I can only use the pistol to deal damage. So, I tried multiple times to run past him, but the government literally hired the same guy that killed Kennedy to be positioned in this window. I just couldn't get through, and it felt like I kept getting shot from 2 different angles. After like 20 attempts, I finally just tried shooting him, and it worked. Yeah, so apparently you can just kill these guys with pistols. Awesome. Alright, I gotta ask, what intern set up this room? Like, no, seriously, there is no practical reason for all of these mines. Actually, I raise you one better. How did the guy who set these even get out of the room? Like, there's literally only one exit, and here I am taking it. I mean, I guess they could have taken the elevator and just sent it back up. I don't know. Also, how is this alien arm just laying here? You kill a bunch of these guys, and they never get their arms, so you can't just say that they killed one. I think I'm looking too far into this. Run past some more soldiers and literally watch this one fumble the grenade. Then, I killed this soldier who was brave enough to walk up on me. Get literally everything in the game which you can't use. I also discovered that you just can't kill this specific sniper. Okay. So I took a little damage from them. Here's that iconic courtyard part where the alien grunts show up and the Osprey drops in more fresh 20-year-olds to appease the blood god. So, I have a confession to make here. While doing this, I accidentally killed the alien grunt with a turret. You can even see me pause and almost load from a different save, but I was getting tired of this run and wanted to keep going, so I did just that. And I was just gonna say, well, technically it was a button press, so that's technically an environmental hazard. Turns out, God did not like that, so my game crashed. It literally kept crashing until I just gave in and redid the section. Around the corner, I got to play whack-a-mole with some Vortigons. Honestly, I have no clue who the mole was supposed to be, considering how much I died. I went into the vent and had to deal with the snarks. Honestly, I don't know how I managed to kill them all. Then I just sat in the vent and lit up all these soldiers. Then, I hung back and shot these ones. I ran past the alien grunts because there was no way in hell I was gonna win that fight. Luckily, there aren't really that many grunts which you're required to kill. After killing more soldiers and getting Barney to unlock this door, I ran from your mother, and then roleplayed as Barack Obama. I went through the newly opened doorway and to forget about Freeman. I started this level like I always do, by running past everything. This sewer section took me an embarrassingly long time to get past. Look, I was at low health and I'm a little tired from the 3.5 hours of action which came before this. Luckily, there wasn't that much more in the way between here and Lambda Core. After I finally managed to get past the safest Chinese sweatshop, I climbed this ladder and found myself in yet another active war zone. I filled these guys with more lead than my pink eraser back in elementary school. Please tell me you also sadistically poke these things with your pencil too. Hey, so remember how I said I was getting tired of this? Well, little did I know, I would be in for the biggest waste of 3 hours in my life. Let me explain. Here, I'm supposed to kill these 2 soldiers, which is honestly light work since I've been doing this for hours now. Once I get past these guys, there's this war going on between Marines and aliens, which is fine. I let them fight, and then I third-party them like any good Fortnite YouTuber. It's what came after that sucked. I press this button and blast open the door. 2 alien grunts and some Vortigaunts poured in. It kinda sucked because I died, and guess where it put me? Not a big deal. This time, I'll do it differently. I found a spot where they just can't really hit me. It's not a glitch, as I still have to do some movement to avoid getting hit, but it works. Now, I can easily just walk into this hallway and... Oh, well, I guess it can't put me that far back. Remember how I said there was no inconvenient placement of alien grunts? Yeah, well, I lied to you all. This hallway is so annoying! I first just tried running past, but clearly that wasn't working as I kept getting filled with more needles than a homeless man in Los Angeles. Not to mention, there's this turret here which also gave me a hard time. And because alien grunts don't chase you, I couldn't lure them out and run past them, meaning my only way was through the aliens. Oh, and don't forget, every time I die, I respawn back here. I developed this dance I did to avoid their needles and the laser turret. I kept at this for 3 hours. And if I died while roleplaying the world's sweatiest CS2 player, then I had to kill all of those soldiers and aliens again. You're lucky that you get the power of editing, because you didn't have to sit through this. I actually spent 3 hours of my life doing this. I am literally the modern day Sisyphus. Eventually, I managed to kill everything, and I was left at 4 health. If my body wasn't dead, then my mind had to be, because that was so exhausting. You might think I did the smart thing and stopped playing after that. Yeah, no, I didn't do that. Why? Because I'm not smart. With that encounter over, it officially marked the end of fighting the United States Marine Corps as I head into Lambda Core. At this point, you might have figured out that I have lost my sanity. In hindsight, I should have stopped here for the day and continued after a good night's sleep. But as God's greatest gamer, I was determined to continue on. All the deaths you just watched from the assassins was not a great motivator though. The next encounter saw me perform another Irish jig as I dodged these needles. I already told you, I don't care who the government sends, I'm not getting addicted to opioids. Lambda Core was honestly pretty boring to get through, which is a trend you'll probably notice throughout the rest of this video, granted you haven't noticed that already. I obviously saw plenty of action and had multiple deaths, but I wasn't really killing anything. That's because the whole level is filled with alien grunts, and I found it easier just to run past them rather than fighting them. Eventually I got a lucky run and didn't die. Once again, I get to make a mad dash for it to turn on the other generator. You know what's funnier than 24? 25, which is how many minutes it took me to achieve a run where I didn't get turned into a porcupine. I hit the load trigger and then died, but since I just hit the load trigger, it can't put me too far back. This time, I made sure to save that Vortigaunt from its enslavement to the Nihilanth. I ran past some lasers, ran past more alien grunts, and then I made it to Valve's hit new game, Portal. I traversed the gambling puzzle and came out lucky. Then I met a scientist and a Barney clone who must not have been big fans of the government considering they owned every weapon known to man. Obviously I couldn't use any of them, but you know what I could use? The Super Mario 64 long jump. This guy yapped, this other guy turned on the microwave, and then I caught the intergalactic Uber to Zen. Hello everyone, welcome to Super Mario Galaxy, a fun and unique entry to the Mario franchise as you platform through low-gravity environments. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Almost all of my Half-Life runs end after Lambda Core, and I'm certain it's the exact same way for a majority of the community. That's because Zen levels are not real Half-Life levels. They're a collection of annoying, unforgiving platformers which don't fit in with the move-at-your-own-pace style of Half-Life. Anyways, after taking my hit of copium, I ended up at the Gonad where... Oh, I can't bring myself to say it. I ran out of pistol ammo. Look, I'm gonna give it to you straight. There's not enough pistol ammo given to the player to kill this thing. So, no. I couldn't beat Half-Life using only the pistol. Although I tried so far and got so hard, in the end, it didn't even matter, as I was bested by a literal testicle. With that, I told myself what I say every night. Bustin' makes me feel good. I pulled out the Ghostbusters gun, and I felt a similar sense of dread I feel every night whilst unloading. Despite failing the challenge, I wanted to see how much further I could get with only the pistol. Interloper was quite the challenge, as I didn't have enough ammo to kill all the alien controllers. I had to run a lot and pray for RNG. Luckily, it was only like 20 minutes worth of setbacks until I was face to face with the last real challenge of the run, ascending a pole. Now, I didn't have much experience at this since my father gave me attention when growing up. I took a methodical approach to this section where I'd kill a few Vortigons while dashing. Then, I'd stop and top off my health, followed by more running and deaths and then having to do it all over again. But eventually, I made it to the Nihilant's chamber. Assuming you're like a veteran Half-Life player, which I assume is the only demographic who'd bother to watch this video, you probably already knew that this challenge was impossible, as you also literally cannot kill the Nihilant with only your pistol. Yeah, that was anticlimactic. And I did try with the small amount of pistol ammo I had, but after some research, I discovered it literally would be impossible. So I fought the boss like normal, but I ensured that I stepped on this baby soft spot for the final time with 9mm rounds. Which brings me right to the Gman.
Gordon Freeman in the flesh.
Oh no, this isn't gonna be one of those abridged version of the story videos with voice acting, is it?
I ain't going to take this shit from the MF who failed his own challenge.
What? You literally saw how little ammo Valve gave me for Zen.
Oh, so you blame the game for your failure? No wonder you're stuck in Silver 2.
What the hell, man? I just endured hours of torture just so I could entertain some random people online.
And yet, you couldn't even provide them with footage of success.
Yeah, but I'm certain they'll appreciate the honesty and the attempt.
Dude, I'm literally in your comments right now. Bad video, comma, thumbs down, and send.
You're not even listening to me.
Chat, I'm tired of this man's excuses. Fucking kill him.
So, there you have it. I couldn't beat Half-Life with only using a pistol to deal damage. And while it may have sounded like I was completing my 36-hour shift at the ball crushing factory while doing this challenge, I did have a lot of fun doing it. Challenging myself by seeing if Valve actually gave me enough pistol ammo to beat this challenge and having to find alternative ways to kill enemies was actually pretty enjoyable. But, as we all now know, Valve decided not to give out any pistol ammo at Zen, rendering this challenge impossible. But you know what? No one actually likes Zen, and it really isn't even a real part of Half-Life anyways. Every single one of us knows that the game ends right after Lambda Core. So, for that reason, I'm gonna say I beat the real Half-Life levels with only a pistol as my weapon. I want to thank you all for making it to the end of the video. I already mentioned how tedious this challenge was at some point, so I'm not gonna bore you with talking about that. However, I'd like to mention that getting all the clips and editing takes a long time too, so I hope you appreciated my effort at entertaining you for today. And if you're watching this because you're a Q hater and you've already commented something saying that I couldn't beat Zen so dislike, then here's my home address. So come tell me in person. I just want to let the people who actually did enjoy this video know I'm planning to do challenges on a variety of games, so don't think I'm just a pure Half-Life YouTuber. With that being said, I will be playing through Half-Life 2 using only a pistol at a later date, so maybe keep an eye on my channel so you can see that. Once again, thanks for watching. I currently have no other videos, but like, once I do, there'll be something here. And maybe once the Half-Life 2 video is out, it'll be here as well. Yeah, bye.